Welcome to Big Ten Saturday Night, presented by Discover. And welcome to a date 75 years in the making. Ranked Illinois, ranked Indiana. First time since 1950, and Bloomington is ready. Indiana won the toss. They defer to the second half. Frankie's going to kick it off to Valentine and Rusetic. And Illinois will start this game from the 25-yard line. The number 9 team ranked in the nation, and their veteran quarterback, Luke Altmyer.
Yeah, 3 years as a starter. He told us the other day, there's nothing I haven't seen. There's no coverage I haven't recognized. Very comfortable. He's off to a very good start here in 2025. 8 touchdowns. The team has not turned it over yet. And they are being very efficient on offense. They want to establish the run. They've got a big offensive line. They want to kind of put a little pressure on this Indiana defense.
They also have all 3 running backs at their disposal. It's going to start with Caden Fagan, but we will see Lawfrey back in there. Play action on first down to the outside, and a first catch for Hudson Clement for a gain of about 4 yards.
This offense, Caden Fagan is the big back, 250 pounds. Hank Beatty is their go-to receiver. Josh Kreutz, the center, number 64, the bell cow of the offensive line.
Play action on second down over the middle. Another catch for Clement, and this time it's going to move the sticks.
These are both RPOs, meaning that it's up to Luke Altmyer to make a decision either to run the play or pass off of it. They could do either one. Indiana kind of stacking the box, and Luke Altmyer very calmly and coolly making the decision to throw, and off to a 2-for-2 start.
They'll go empty on this first down from the 40-yard line. Against a stout Indiana defense, one of the best in the country last year. And they have performed at a very high level early this year. Feeling the pressure, a little bit behind his intended target, Beatty, and incomplete.
Yeah, you mentioned the pressure, and I think that's what caused Luke Altmyer to be a little bit off on the throw. You see the pressure coming here. He knows he's got to get rid of it. He's not going to have a blocker for this guy, but he's just not able to get the accurate throw, and the pressure is what caused that. Good job by Elijah Hardy, number 21, the Will linebacker.
And an early injury down on the field. The intended target was Hank Beatty.
Timeout on the field.
And it is Beatty who is down. One of the all-purpose leaders in the country will be looked at, and we'll check in next. Well, you feel like if there's one guy outside of Luke Altmyer you can't lose on this offense, it's Hank Beatty. 3rd in the country coming in all-purpose yards, an absolute weapon.
Yeah, the ball was thrown behind. He tried to reach back, but the hit came after the incompletion. Right at the end of the play, you're going to see the safety, Farrell, with the shot, and on the sideline he was kind of gingerly looking at his right arm, and now he's in the injury tent. And Indiana very aware of Beatty because he's been such a big play guy to this Illini offense through the first 3 weeks.
So Hollins is going to come in as a result. They like his speed and versatility, but he's not quite Hank Beatty. Yet to run it until now, it's Fagan up the middle, and he bounces off a few tacklers for 5 yards. Kellen Wyatt's the one who gets him first. So it's Fagan, Valentine, and Lawfrey. All we're going to see in the backfield. 3 different styles for Illinois.
Well, as you can see, Fagan is the in-between the tackles, downhill runner, 6'3", 250 pounds. When he's healthy, he's as good as it gets. He's had the last 2 seasons cut short by injury. Last year, a very serious hip injury that cost him most of the season.
Fagan stays in there on 3rd down and 5. Hollins the motion man. Altmyer looks with time. Good protection. Now Altmyer's going to have to make something happen. And he can't get away. Dragged out of bounds by Elijah Hardy. And the Indiana defense gets the early stop.
Indiana's only going to rush 4, but they covered everybody up. And without Beatty in there, you're going to see 4 guys rush. The protection is pretty solid. But Altmyer has nowhere to go with the football, trying to make something happen by extending the play. They maintain their coverage downfield and get the stop.
So Keelan Crimmins will come on, a punted deep. And Jonathan Brady standing back with a fair catch signal made just shy of the 20-yard line. A 43-yard punt will bring out this Indiana offense led by Fernando Mendoza, the transfer from Cal.
Well, last year, Indiana caught lightning in a bottle with a veteran transfer. Curtis Rourke came from Ohio University, trying to do it again this year. Mendoza came from Cal. He was highly coveted and pursued in the transfer portal. Came to Indiana because he loved the track record of Frank Cignetti and his staff of developing quarterbacks, both at JMU and with Curtis Rourke last year, who had an outstanding year in the Big Ten.
Mendoza's played in some big environments, but his first Big Ten game comes against one of the best defenses in the conference against Illinois here. A top 10 team at home, fired up. Roman Hemby, his fellow transfer from Maryland, in the backfield on first down from the 19-yard line. Handoff up the middle, and Hemby explodes forward for 7. It's a starting group that has been explosive the last 2 weeks on offense.
Well, Roman Hemby, who just carried that, he's a transfer who came over from Maryland, was a highly productive back as a pass receiver and a runner at Maryland. He kind of leads a little rotation at running back. And their center, Pat Coogan, was with Notre Dame last year, the team that knocked Indiana out of the playoffs. Pat Coogan has come over, has been a veteran leader from day one when he stepped on campus here in Bloomington.
Omar Cooper, the man in motion, 207 yards, 4 touchdowns, record-setting performance last week against Indiana State. Free rusher gets home. Illinois has their first sack of the day. Mendoza gets dumped by Leon Lowry in a loss of 9.
Well, nice job by the nose tackle, occupying 2. Watch him occupy these 2, and nobody picks up Lowry coming in on the blitz. The left guard probably should have been available there, Drew Evans. He's helping the center, and nobody accounts for Lowry. And when that pressure comes right up the middle, even a mobile quarterback really has no chance.
Second and short turns into 3rd and long. It's a 3rd and 12. Hemby not going anywhere. Just gets across the 20, back towards the original line of scrimmage where Akis drags him down.
Well, this Indiana offense for 3 weeks pretty much has had 0 resistance other than inside the 10-yard line in the opener against Old Dominion. Last week, 73 points. They've averaged 300 yards a game rushing. But this is a different animal now going against Illinois. A very solid defense, big and physical up front. Give you a lot of different looks on 3rd downs.
And Beatty's back in the game to return this punt.
Great news for Illinois.
Quinn Warren, 3rd straight game, he's going to punt for Indiana. And Mitch McCarthy got hurt with an undisclosed injury week 1. He's the starter that Cignetti was really excited for, but they love what they've seen out of the walk-on Warren. Beatty's dangerous. Already has a punt return touchdown this year. This time he gets chopped down just across the 35 at the 36. 51-yard punt, 10-yard return. Second chance for this Illinois offense in Bloomington when we come back. Well, when you think of Big Ten football, you don't necessarily think of powerhouses Illinois and Indiana. Since 2000 up until 2023, 103 wins for IU, fewest. 111 for Illinois, tied for 2nd fewest. But last year, each with double-digit win seasons, tied the most for program history for Illinois. First ever double-digit win season for Indiana, and here they are, first time in 75 years playing as ranked opponents. And realistically, it goes back to their head coaches, two of the most brash and confident head coaches in the conference.
And built teams in their image. I mean, Brett Bielema on the left, it's a big physical team, wants to run the football, wants to get games in the 4th quarter. Curt Cignetti, they are fast, they're physical, well coached in all 3 phases of the game.
They got Valentine, the running back, in motion. And they pitch it to him. Valentine looking for some space, and he gets driven backboard. Another swarming play by Isaiah Bones Jones for this Indiana defense.
Well, this is a defense that's very aggressive. Kamara, number 6, he is their best pass rusher. He's been a little slow starting. Need to get him going. And D'Angelo Pons, number 5, outstanding cover corner. 2nd and
14. Fagan bounces to the outside and gains a yard. Again, it's Jones.
Well, he kind of hesitated in the hole. He was kind of looking for a place to run, and by that time Jones was able to chase it down from the backside and force a 3rd down and long situation. And this is where Kamara needs to show up for this Indiana defense.
Illinois has yet to huddle. 2nd offensive possession.
Right there, number 6.
Beatty is back in there. Good sign for the Illini. It's a 3rd and 13. Pressure comes. Altmaier steps up with good time. Pumps, delivers. Incomplete. It is knocked away from Clement on a good play by Farrell.
Well, it's zone, and this Indiana team plays primarily zone. And Luke Altmyer read it. He stepped up in the pocket. You see the slip. That enabled Farrell to kind of catch up and get a hand on the football. If the receiver doesn't slip, maybe he keeps separation. As it turns out, another missed opportunity on third down. Good defense.
Second punt for Crimmins. Oh, it's blocked. Got in there in a beat. D'Angelo Pons is going to score. Touchdown Hoosiers. Extra point from Radicic. 7-0 IU.
We talked about D'Angelo Pons being a baller, being a boundary corner that can lock down coverage. How about this play on special teams? Perfect timing, gets the ball, gets the scoop, and gets the score, and Indiana takes an early lead.
Well, I was born in a small town.
All right, Ahmed, thanks so much. So Indiana gets out on front with the mistake as Keelan Crimmins had his second punt of the day blocked by one of the stars of this IU team, D'Angelo Pons, making plays on the defensive side, and the transfer from JMU making plays on special teams as well. This one's going to be another touchback and another chance for Illinois' offense.
We talked about how well coached they are in all three phases. I want you to watch three guys here now. Watch these three guys, because what's going to happen is this guy's going to bluff, then they're going to double team, and Pons is going to come off the end. And I think it's Tanner Arkin, who is a reliable tight end. One of those three personal protectors should have fanned out for D'Angelo Pons, but they occupied the center. They doubled the guy who came up the middle, and nobody accounted for D'Angelo Pons. And the first big play of the game happens with the special teams.
I know it's different coordinator, but Brian Haynes, the defensive coordinator, always talks about discipline equals freedom and being willingness to make plays, take some risk if you know you can make it. Well, Pons certainly subscribed to that on that last block punt and touchdown. The Beatty catch is a short one as he was tripped up by Lewis Moore after a gain of 3.
Lewis Moore, the leading tackler on this team, an older guy. Started out here, went to Ole Miss, came back to Indiana, relearned the defense.
Altmaier's going to keep it himself. Up the middle, he's got plenty of space for the first down across the 40.
Now, both of these quarterbacks in this game are athletic and can be sneaky good running the football. And in a game against two good defenses, quarterback run can become a factor. Does a nice job of ducking inside of Kellen Wyatt, number 13, getting north and south, protecting the football, and getting a first down.
Valentine, the lone setback on first down. Haven't seen much of Loffery yet. Expected a full workload after the injury. Good protection from Valentine. Loaded up over the middle. It's wide open. Colin Dixon is gone. 59-yard touchdown, and what a response.
Well, there's an obvious bust in the coverage. And D'Angelo Pons, for some reason, is going to let this guy go. He's going to let Colin Dixon go. I don't know if he thought a safety would pick him up, but watch, he's going to stop. And Dixon's going to run right by everybody, and Altmyer finds him. It started with picking up the blitz and good protection, and then Luke Altmyer recognizing the mistake.
David Olano, extra point, and we are tied. Not even midway through this first quarter, and we've already seen some great defense, elite special teams, and now a bomb from Altmyer as Luke puts it in the bucket for Dixon.
Yeah, I mean, normally you count on this guy shutting down the boundary. So let's see what he was looking at. He's got his eyes on the quarterback, and for whatever reason, he thought he was going to throw the over route, and he let go of his deep third, and the safety didn't help either. Now watch the pickup on the blitz right there. Khalil Valentine, that gives him the time. And Luke Altmaier, again, with his experience, recognizes the bust in the coverage and hits the open man for a tying touchdown.
So people ask all the time, all right, everybody wants to talk about all this experience, everything coming back, and that's exactly what you'd expect out of Curt Cignetti with a bust like that. But all the experience, all the starts coming back, it's for moments like that. You go down 7-0, a momentum-shifting play on the road, the calm nature of your quarterback to just get everybody back on the horse, and a great play down the field.
Well, and remember, he ran for the first down, first of all, on the quarterback keep, which is a big play just to get a new set of downs. Then they go pass, he gets protected, and he makes the big play down the field.
So Dixon with his second touchdown of the season gets us all even as they'll kick it off. Hemby back there, and he'll let it sail into the end zone. The Voice is back with Snoop, Bublé, Nile, and Reba. So get ready for some big voice energy. A brand new season of The Voice starts Monday on NBC and Peacock. Well, it was a quick opening drive for Fernando Mendoza in this offense after a positive start on the ground. 2 negative plays following that. But Mendoza has proven his skill set. He came here because he wanted to be developed, and he believes he's already taken some strides.
Yeah, and he's going to face that linebacker, Dylan Rosiak, one of the best in the Big Ten. Missed last week, was itchy to get back out there, and very much like Aiden Fisher on the Indiana side, a run-and-hit guy, heart and soul of the defense.
Drive starts from the 25. Play action over the middle. Surratt makes the catch for 14 yards.
A nice RPO, run-pass option. Fernando makes the right read. Watch the line. There's going to block run this way. He's going to see one-on-one with Surratt. It's a big target over the middle and gets him the football. We should also mention, even though Rosiak is back, Xavier Scott, an all Big Ten safety nickelback, is out of this game. Got hurt last week. Not sure when his return will be, but he's a big loss for this Illinois defense.
Another quick throw. This time E.J. Williams Jr. goes down low to make the short grab against this Illinois defense.
Yeah, James Thompson, one of 3 transfers from Wisconsin that has kind of been the leader of this defensive front. Big physical guy. We mentioned Rosiak. He's back. And Malachi Hood, who has kind of been the starter since he's been gone, has really played well. Very high on him. And in the back end, Miles Scott is the communicator. Aaron Henry, the defensive coordinator, is a former defensive back, and so his green dot communicator is a safety, not a linebacker, in calling the defense.
We're also expecting to see a lot of Tanner Heckel in the role of Xavier Scott. This run gets gobbled up after a gain of a couple across the 45 to the 46. Durajaye and Akis combine on the tackle. So we've seen some quick throws. His first positive offensive drive for Mendoza, an offense that put up 73 points last week against Indiana State. But Curt Cignetti believes that Mendoza has just accelerated his growth after that Week 1 victory over Old Dominion. Here's another test on 3rd and 3.
There's Omar Cooper, who has been his go-to guy so far in the early part of the season.
Put him in motion. Mendoza looking that way. Mendoza's going to take off, and he won't get there. A yard short, and Rosiak was the one in pursuit.
I think they wanted to throw the ball to Cooper, and Fernando didn't like it. He didn't like what he saw, the space there. Curt Cignetti looks like he's going to punt the football. He knows it's going to be a 4-quarter game. And I think both these coaches say, you know what? You can't win the game in the first quarter, but you can lose it. All right, if you make certain mistakes, bad decisions, get a punt block like Illinois did. Right now it's even, so you play field position and you trust your defense.
Illinois a little bit late trying to get off the field, and they're going to have to take a timeout to avoid the penalty to give them the first down. So Illinois burns their first with just under 6 to play in this first quarter. Take another look at this last play and see how well covered Omar Cooper truly was.
We're going to see they put him in motion to try to create separation, make it tougher to press him. He's covered by Caleb Patterson, number 1. And for whatever reason, Mendoza thought he had a better chance of running for the first down. But credit the Illinois defense for getting there quickly. And we talked about Rosiak, a run and hit middle linebacker. Made a huge play right there on 3rd down.
Gabe Akis called him the quarterback of this defense. Just his overall vibe on the field lifts up the rest of his team. And you mentioned Aiden Fisher on the other side. A lot of these teams, these two feel like they're almost mirror images of each other in a lot of spots. Linebacker being one of them. We know how they like to establish the ground game, the wide receivers and the weapons, and now Curt Cignetti might be thinking twice.
Well, he had a lot of time to think about it. Now, mass substitutions again for Illinois.
5th attempt of the season on 4th down for Indiana. They're just 1 for 4 in their first 3 games. It's 4th and 1. Cooper in motion. Black the running back. Mendoza, handoff. Black up the middle. He's got it. First down, Hoosiers.
A really nice job by Omar Cooper. He's a wide receiver, but watch him turn back in and get a lead block. Just enough for Black to get the first down. Right there, gets a nice block on Matthew Bailey, the strong safety. And Black able to slip in right beside him and get the first down.
Curt Cignetti did say to us that this being a night game at home was a huge advantage for his team. Want to keep the crowd involved, and they do on the 4th down pickup. Now Mendoza through the air. Over the middle, there is Cooper. Gets away from one and another. Cooper inside the 20. Still going all the way to the 11. A 40-yard ripper for Omar Cooper.
Well, again, a little play action RPO. Freezes the linebackers. That opens up a hole behind him to throw this quick slant to Cooper, and Cooper, yard after the catch, is where he excels.
To the outside. Cooper had 4 touchdowns last week. Looking for his first today, and he's got it. Touchdown, IU. Back-to-back catches, and number 3 has his first.
He's going to get a big block by E.J. Williams, number 7. The transfer from Clemson. He's 6'3", 215 pounds, and he just handles Caleb Patterson. And Cooper able to get the ball across the pylon. Last week, Noah, 207 yards receiving. 136 of it was yards after the catch. 2 plays in a row. He shows you that's a special ability that he has.
Radicic will come on for the extra point. Set a record 69 of 69 last year. And he is now 5 for 5 this year. Indiana leads 14-7. Cooper once again the star, and Mendoza has his go-to guy. The speedy receiver got him in position, and he finishes the job after the 4th down conversion. IU up a score.
Time now for Big Shots, brought to you by Nissan. It's Omar Cooper. 3 plays in a row. 4th and 1. Gets a huge block to allow for the conversion. Then back-to-back throws on RPOs. And we see his special skill catch and then yards after the catch on both of these. The second one resulting in a touchdown. He continues his torrid pace to start the first month of the season for this Hoosier offense.
Curt Cignetti said this guy can be as good as he wants to be if he can be consistent. He said, we've seen the consistency grow through the first 3 weeks, but it's about being consistent week in and week out in Big Ten play. That's a good first step for Omar Cooper. Let's check in with the studio. I had to have a feeling that the Irish were going to come back with a vengeance after 2 really just tough losses to start the season. Let's see how Illinois' offense comes back after the long touchdown on the previous drive, and we have yet to see Mikhail Kamara really leave his mark on this game. We still have yet to see Aiden Lawfery out there to run the football for Illinois. It's going to be Fagan on first down. As Brett Bielema said, it's a business decision to tackle that guy as he picks up 3. So Altmaier 5 of 7, 73 yards and a touchdown through the first couple of drives. Fagan 3 attempts, just 9 yards. He's the only running back to carry the football so far. 2 tight end set. Fagan stays in there on 2nd and 7. Altmaier pumps, looking to get away. He won't. He gets sacked by Tyreek Tucker.
Well, he's looking to throw to Hudson Clement, number 13. He wasn't open, and he had to pull it down, and by the time he did, Tucker was there to get the sack. 3rd down and 11 now for this Illinois offense.
One of several big-time James Madison transfers that came over with Cignetti, and Tucker has taken over for C.J. West, who was just an absurdly effective player for this team last year. 3rd and 11. Altmyer feels it again, and he goes down again. Isaiah Jones having a first quarter.
He's just going to whip Caden Feagin on this one. I mean, you know, Feagin is going to be there to pick him up. And Jones is just going to put a little juke fake on him and run right by him. Goes right around him. And again, inside pressure on the quarterback. Quarterback has no chance. And that's just not a very good job by Feagin in pass protection on that play.
Indiana had 5 sacks last week against Indiana State. Already 3 so far against this experienced Illinois offensive line. We've got a flag back towards the kick as this one was fielded, and then Brady was just immediately driven into the ground. But let's wait for the penalty. It's been a clean game so far, and we'll hear from Chris Coit.
Kicking team number 55, the 10-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play, or it'll be 1st and 10.
So T.J. McMillan called for it, and this is going to be excellent field position for the Hoosiers.
Well, he was part of the group that kind of double teamed and gave up the block punt the last time. This time he gets called for the holding. Well, Indiana being able to create a little confusion on their punt rush scheme so far. And you know, when we talked to Curt Cignetti and he talked about the Illinois offensive line, he said, you know, they gave up 32 sacks last year. They've given up a few this year. We think we can pressure them. And this quarterback is too good. If we don't put pressure on him, he'll pick us apart. But we think we can get to him and make him uncomfortable. And I think so far tonight, with the exception of the long touchdown throw, they've kind of done that. They
certainly have. And Illinois has been prone to some slow starts already this season, the last 2 weeks in particular. And they're in danger of falling behind by 2 scores. Clean pocket for Mendoza. He's going to fire down the sideline. A lot of contact, and Surratt looked like he might have just lost his footing. He was knotted up with Torrey Cox Jr. and incomplete.
Yeah, it's just 2 guys that are just going to get their legs tied up. He tried to go a little stutter step move, and it didn't fool Torrey Cox. Good position. Both guys have eyes on the quarterback on the football, and a good no call. And 2nd and 10.
If anything, it might have been offensive pass interference.
Yeah.
It looked like Surratt got tangled up and took down Torrey Cox down the field. So, after all that, 2nd and 10 from the 48. Black is the back, and he gets dumped. Rosiak, penetration, making it happen.
Well, again, just kind of has a nose for the football. Watch him right here. He's going to know where this is going. He's going to beat him to the snap. Just does a great job of feeling this run, slipping inside there, not allowing Drew Evans, the left guard, to get a piece of him, and then meets Black right in the hole for a sure tackle.
Dylan Rosiak, a captain once again, 2nd straight year, an absolute gym and film rat, according to his coaches. But a leg fracture at the end of last season. He missed the final couple of weeks of the regular season in the bowl game. They are just overjoyed to have him back on the field. 3rd down and long. Mendoza gets rid of it a little too far in front of Cooper, and it's 4th and 12.
Well, this is a pretty good job by Mendoza. It's 0 coverage. This is an all-out blitz by Illinois. No safety in the middle. You're going to see the pressure come free from this side, and he knows he has to unload it, and he almost gets it to Cooper. Look, no middle safety. It's one-on-one. He's got Cooper with separation, but hard to make an accurate throw under that kind of duress.
Rasetic had that free rush. So now a punt for Warren, and Beatty is back standing at his own 10, waiting for it. He dropped it and does get it off in time. Beatty will let this one bounce. It takes an IU bounce inside the 10 and rolls all the way to the 2. Fortuitous for the Hoosiers, and Altmyer in Illinois will have to go the length of the field.
Yeah, this looked like it could have been disaster. We've already had one a block punt in the game, but he's able to keep his composure, get the football, and not only get it off, but get the excellent bounce at home. and backs Illinois up deep in their own territory.
And again, let's remember Mitch McCarthy, the 27-year-old transfer from UCF, originally by way of Australia, is still out. You see him right there, number 44. He is available if they need him in certain situations, but he's out with an undisclosed injury. So Warren, the walk-on, getting the responsibility, and they've been pleased with his performance the last 3 weeks.
Now, this is where you need that experienced offensive line. All 5 starters back from last year. You got to get yourself a little room here around the goal line.
Valentine is the back. This drive starts from the 2. They give it to him, and Valentine gets back to the line of scrimmage. Nowhere else to go for Khalil.
Mario Landino, who the defensive coaches Brian Haynes told us, I hope you call his name a lot. He's going to play a lot of places for us. He made an outstanding play on that first down play. Nice little move inside. Stopped the ball carrier for no gain. Last year, James Carpenter was their main inside interior defensive lineman. And Brian Haynes says, I don't know about my defensive tackles yet. I'll find out in this game tonight where we're at with them.
We already see Tyreek Tucker with a sack. Handoff. Valentine gets back to the 1 with a flag down. This Indiana front is ready, and Hosea Wheeler, another one of those D tackles, coming up to make a play.
Well, you just mentioned Tyreek Tucker. He's the guy that got penetration and probably drew the holding foul on the center, Josh Cruz. Let's see if they called this on 64.
Holding. Offense number 64 in the field of play. The penalties declined. It's 3rd down.
That's key because it would have been a safety if it was in the end zone.
Watch how quick Tyreek Tucker is off the ball. Gets into the backfield, and that draws the holding penalty. Illinois with 3rd down in very bad situation right here.
They have a lot of trust in their quarterback, but you wonder how much trust you truly do have with a 3rd and 10 from the 2-yard line. He will operate out of the gun. Already 6 TFLs in this first quarter for IU. Arkin in motion. Altmaier on the run. Gets rid of it. And it's caught for the first down. Caden Fagan. And then after the fact, with a flag down over at the goal line, some pushing and shoving. Aiden Fisher getting in the face of some linemen along with Luke Altmaier. As it stands, it's a 12-yard pickup on the catch and run from Fagan. And now let's wait for the official call from Chris Coit.
This is a pretty nice design play by Barry Lunney on 3rd down and long.
Remember, it was Fisher who is vocal, emotional, spiritual leader of this Indiana team and certainly this defense.
Holding. Offense number 58. Half the distance to the goal. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense number 58. Defense number 4. Both players first of the game. It's 3rd down.
It's Priestley, number 58, who gets called for the hold. Right there, the takedown at the end of the play. Really unnecessary by Priestley. They got the first down. It was a nice design play, and then just a little jawing back and forth.
We know Fisher's fiery.
Yeah, that's his game, too.
He does that.
He wants to get in everybody's head.
He said he wants to live in Luke Altmaier's head tonight. That was the direct quote when we sat down with him yesterday. He does it with Fernando Mendoza. And now we'll see if they even snap this. They don't have to. They can take it down to the end of the first quarter for this 3rd and 11. And they will go and run the play to the outside, well short of the sticks. The catch made by Dixon, but he was dragged back immediately on a quick beat by Jamari Sharp. So that ends this first quarter. Luke Altmaier, 6 of 8, 80 yards in the long touchdown. The punt block rather by D'Angelo Pons went for the first score, and it's Indiana leading number 9 Illinois by 1 touchdown as we go to the second on Big Ten Saturday Night. Aerial coverage brought to you by Ford. Ready, set, Ford. Back here in Bloomington, a fun first quarter. Back and forth between number 9 Illinois, number 19 Indiana, and Todd. It felt like coming in it was going to be a big boy Big Ten game, and we felt it through the first.
Yeah, I mean, you could see both teams had their way, making a couple big plays, a couple big pass plays for both teams. Really the difference in the game, the special teams play.
Yeah.
The block punt by D'Angelo Pons and the scoop and score. That's why we have a 7-point lead. And then a nice punt by Crimmins, putting Crimmins now in a situation where he's going to have to punt out of his end zone. So special teams, kind of the difference right now for Indiana.
It also feels like both defense, aside from the one drive on either side offensively, both defenses have played some really good ball.
Yeah, they have. They got their feet on the ground. Hey, look, these are two outstanding defensive football teams, and they're fired up for their first Big Ten opening game. And so, yeah, they're kind of setting the tone right now.
So Luke Altmaier in this offense trying to find some consistent rhythm. Again, they've dealt with some slow starts already this season, including 2 weeks ago against Duke, where they led by just one going into the half and then blew the doors off of them in the second half, winning 45-19. And last week against Western Michigan, it wasn't as simple as they believed it should have been, and they rolled in the third and fourth quarters. Let's see what Crimmins has from inside his own end zone, about 6 yards deep. And Brady is waiting back. Gets it off clean. Let's see if Brady will have a chance on this one. We'll let it bounce at the 44, and it will bounce towards the side, roll, and be scooped up there. So good field position once again for Fernando Mendoza and this Hoosier offense. The man who transferred from Cal over the last couple of years, starting there, 66.5% completion percentage, the best in Cal Bears history, a 30-16 touchdown to interception ratio. And through week 3, 9 touchdowns, leads the Big Ten, no turnovers, 236 passing yards per game. Last week, an absurd 19 of 20 in just about 2.5 quarters of work, a program record for completion percentage. So here he is, third opportunity, 4 of 6, 67 yards, and a touchdown through first quarter. Hemby's is back. Hemby has the rock, and he explodes through the hole and picks up 4.
You know, not only did Mendoza want to come here to get developed and trained as a quarterback, and they've got a really good setup here in terms of their coaching staff for that, he also wanted to come and win. You know, he wanted to compete for championships. And it's interesting, in his career, he is 0-6 as a starting quarterback against ranked opponents. So all those games were at Cal. Tonight's his first opportunity as an Indiana Hoosier to kind of change that.
His brother Alberto, one of his backups. The familiarity there certainly helped as Hemby gets stood up after a gain of a yard. He also really shouted out offensive coordinator Mike Shanahan and quarterback coach Chandler Whitmore. You see Shanahan there. Whitmore was part of the convincing process.
Yeah.
They said, they sat him down. They said, you want to be developed? Come here.
Yeah.
You want to go and try to compete elsewhere? That's fine. But we're going to develop you into the quarterback you can become.
Yeah, that's Chandler Whitmore. He spent the last 4 years in the NFL, most recently with the Atlanta Falcons, working directly with Michael Penix, former Indiana Hoosier quarterback at one time.
3rd and 4, Mendoza, Hemby, first down, and then some. Down the sideline, Roman Hemby, knocked out of bounds by Mike Scott. Another big gain on the yards after catch for IU.
If there's anything that kind of differentiates Hemby from Kalon Black, this guy has a chance to be more explosive, more of a home run hitter. Very productive as a receiver and a runner when he was at Maryland, and this is just a little short throw. Get it out in space, picks up a nice block from Surratt, and Indiana knocking on the door again inside the 25.
Just good decision making from Mendoza. Now first down from the 24. Quick throw, Cooper gets leveled. Miles Scott comes across, and Cooper somehow hung out to that football, and then a flag is down. There's no doubt that Cooper was in a brutal spot when the hit took place.
Well, it looked like Miles Scott came and led with his shoulder. Let's see at the end of the play. Nice catch in traffic.
Personal foul. Targeting defense number 10.
No chance,
Half the
right?
distance to the goal. First down. The play is under review.
Well, let's bring in Terry McCauley. Terry, what'd you see?
Noah, we got a defenseless player. We got him leading with his helmet. We see forcible contact to the head and neck area of the defenseless receiver. This should be targeting, although I will tell you guys, you know, it's all over the map, all over the country. So I'm just telling you, this should be targeting. We'll see what they do.
So you don't think he leads with his shoulder here? You're saying helmet is still the lead?
The head's still out front. Yes,
Yep.
you can see him. That's the first point of contact we see is helmet to helmet. So he's definitely leading with the head, helmet, and it should be targeting.
And you think about the potential of losing Miles Scott for this game after already playing without Xavier Scott in their general nickel spot. Scott is their leading tackler. Miles, that is, a captain on the back line of this defense, and more than anything, the green dot
he's
for
a
this
communicator.
group.
That's right.
And the fact that Omar Cooper held on to that football is thoroughly impressive. Now Cooper jogging on the sideline. He's going to go, it looks like, toward the medical talent. And so we'll keep our eyes on the star receiver for IU. They are taking their time at the replay center in Rosemont, Illinois. Chris Coit, the referee here tonight. This Big Ten crew in this first Big Ten matchup for both of these teams. And a critical matchup for potential college football playoff implications all the way in December.
After review, the targeting foul is confirmed. Number 10 is disqualified. It's first and goal at the 8-yard line.
So Illinois loses their main communicator, the man you see, he wears that C2P green dot on the back of his helmet. And Aaron Henry, defensive coordinator, gets all the signals through his defensive back the way that he would have liked it.
Well, it'll be interesting to see now who is the guy he communicates with. We've already seen Rosetich, number 0, in the game for Illinois. We've seen Tanner Heckel in. Who now becomes the green dot?
Man, that is just a huge loss. Xavier Scott already out with an injury. First team all Big Ten last year. Miles Scott, the leading tackler, coming in. And there is Mac Rosetich, the junior from Spring Valley, Illinois, who will be the green dot the rest of the way. It also sets up first and goal for Indiana. Black, shimmy shake, and he gets to the 6-yard line. Second down.
Well, this kind of feels like Illinois' defense has got their backs to the wall right here. They've got to find a way to hold this to a field goal attempt. They can't afford to let this lead get too far extended. This is a team that likes to play close ball games, get them into the fourth quarter. Indiana with a chance, if they can get this one in the end zone, to put a lot of pressure on Luke Altmaier and the Illinois offense.
Nowakowski in motion. Second and goal. Mendoza keeps looking to get to the corner, and he won't. He's tripped up. Caleb Patterson comes up to make the play and force third down.
Yeah, nice play by Patterson and a missed block by Nowakowski, number 37. Watch, Nowakowski's normally an excellent lead blocker. Transfer from Wisconsin, and he just kind of gets a bad position on the corner. And Caleb Patterson slips inside of him and makes a tackle on the quarterback. If he gets that block, good chance Mendoza gets to the corner of the end zone for a touchdown.
Remember that Miles Scott can stay on the sideline despite being out for the rest of this game. Late sub and then some movement.
Well, that was lucky for Illinois. They didn't even have anybody lined up
False
down
start.
at the bottom of the screen.
Offense, number 65. 5-yard penalty, third down.
That's the first penalty for Indiana. We know how Curt Cignetti feels about his team being penalized, and Cooper still working on the bike over on the sideline.
Well, Holden Stays was out wide. Nobody went out there with him, and the penalty on the other side by Carter Smith. You can see Stays is all alone. They're running a guy out late, so a little confusion in the Illinois secondary without Miles Scott, their leader, in there. But Indiana helps him with the false start.
So third and goal now from the 11. Mendoza looks, steps into one, end zone, touchdown. E.J. Williams goes up high.
Watch the safety, Rosetich. He's going to get too close to the line of scrimmage. And the ball is going to go right over his head. Perfect throw by Mendoza to the tall receiver. E.J. Williams is 6'3", 205 pounds. Throw it to the back of the end zone. High for your guy. And the safety out of position to make a play.
Radicic stays perfect, and Indiana takes a 2-touchdown lead. Mendoza showing the poise, taking advantage of the targeting on Miles Scott, and going to his replacement right over the top of Rosetich. Easy catch for Williams. Indiana extends the lead. God. Well, Indiana takes full advantage as their drive gets extended a bit from the targeting against Miles Scott. He is done for the day. Brett Bielema going up to one of his captains. His leadership on the sideline will be important. Again, targeting, you can stay out there, you can be out there with your team, you just cannot be on the playing field. And Indiana takes advantage, extends the lead to 21-7, as Illinois will get another one to start at the 25.
Oh, we talked about Mac Rusetich being in the game. He's right here. Now, Indiana's going to run a crossing route with these two guys, and I think he kind of gets nosy. But the other problem, number 19, Tyson Rooks, is the corner in there. I don't know if he's been in the game yet. And E.J. Williams runs right by him.
And Curt Cignetti, he said after the game, he's never satisfied. He never relaxes. He said the only time he gets to relax is way after the game when he gets to his office and can crack open a beer. The false start is eating away at him. You can see it physically crushing him. Huge drive now for Illinois. Altmaier to the outside. There's a good catch out of bounds for Hudson Clement. And this is where you rely on your veteran quarterback.
Well, your veteran quarterback, and you got to get Hank Beatty, more involved. I mean, he's been your playmaker. Remember, this team lost their top two receivers from a year ago, both with over 50 catches, both in the NFL now. And Beatty has got to be the guy that steps up for him.
First down from the 37. Up the middle, and Fagan gets propelled forward after he initially was met by Farrell.
And you brought up a point earlier, and I don't know, there's got to be some reasoning why we have not seen Aiden Lawfery yet. We were told that he and Dylan Rosiak were both good to go, full practice, ready to play. And he has not been in the game yet.
He's on the sideline with a helmet. Here's a 2nd and 7. And again, Altmaier cannot escape. Mario Landino adds to the tally for IU.
Well, first of all, it's a great move by Hosea Wheeler, number 0. He's going to run a little stunt right here. He's going to come inside. He's going to get the initial pressure. And then Landino is going to finish him off. Wheeler kind of forces him out of the pocket and right to his buddy, Mario Landino, for the sack.
Already the 4th sack for IU.
That was Stephen Daly, number 8, not Hosea Wheeler, number 0, that forced that action.
So a 3rd and 12 with Beatty in motion. Altmaier looks. Altmaier steps up, and he's going to run. Altmaier not going to get there. Gets sandwiched between Fisher .
He has been under duress. He was under duress on that play. Elijah Hardy chasing him down, flushing him out of the pocket. He's not been able to set his feet and throw in rhythm very much tonight because of this Indiana pressure. And it's been different guys coming from different positions. Jones on the inside with a couple big plays. And that last play, Kellen Wyatt, number 13, just collapsed the pocket.
So another attempt for Crimmins, his 4th punt of this first half. Plenty of time this time. Brady is back there, and he'll let it sail over his head and into the end zone. So a proper decision from the transfer from Cal. Jonathan Brady, the senior, will set up shop for this Indiana offense, up 2 scores. Big Ten Saturday Night is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. By Taco Bell. And by Xfinity. Be the best at watching sports. Stream smarter with Xfinity. Well, the last ranked matchup between these two teams 75 years ago, where number 12 Illinois beat number 19 Indiana 20-0. And Curt Cignetti, there were 2 games last year that this team played against ranked teams. They lost to Ohio State and Notre Dame, who played in the national championship. He said today he was going to learn a lot about his team. He felt good going in, but they were going to learn a lot.
Well, and they have a chance. There's a lot of narrative, a lot of negative narrative about the Hoosiers during the offseason. Were they worthy to be in the playoffs? I definitely think they were, but they have a chance to change that tonight.
Mendoza over the middle, another catch. This time Surratt bounces off a tackler. Rosiak trying to rip the ball away, but it's a first down catch for Surratt of 11 yards.
Well, unlike Luke Altmaier, Fernando Mendoza is in great rhythm right now. Another RPO. So his eyes, look at his eyes. He's reading the linebackers. They come in. Rosiak comes to the line of scrimmage. It opens up a nice throwing lane for Surratt. And this guy is in control right now. His feet are calm, his eyes are working, and his arm is responding with accuracy.
Curt Cignetti felt like his progression has been similar to the quarterbacks they've had in the past, like Curtis Rourke last year. Another one to the outside. Surratt makes a man miss. Here he goes down the sideline. And the man called Waffle House gets escorted out of bounds inside Illinois territory as he picks up another chunk gain.
Watch, it's a corner blitz. Again, when you're calm, your eyes work better. He saw it, he felt it, he got the ball out right away. And right now, Fernando Mendoza is having the better of it, matching up with Aaron Henry.
You see the level of explosion that Surratt and Cooper have, according to PFF, just behind Jeremiah Smith among active Big Ten wide receivers and explosives over the last 2 seasons. And another good run here for Roman Hemby. Goes over the top and gains 10.
Well, you're mixing short passes and RPO passes that could be runs or they could be passes, and now you're giving the ball to Hemby. And it's the same kind of thing. In this case, he's faking the pass and give the ball to Hemby, and they really kind of have this Illinois defense a little bit off balance.
3 plays, 3 first downs. And Indiana right now showing off just how explosive they can be. The flag is down and a false start.
Well, something else for Curt Cignetti to be upset about.
Offense, number 62, 5-yard penalty.
What was the quote
down.
last week after a 73-0 win? Generally pleased?
Generally pleased, yeah. Well, no coach likes this. Mental errors, and just really right now, the only one stopping Indiana is Indiana.
Illinois, the concern, slow starts. And they knew they could not fall behind by a whole lot against this Indiana team. They could use a big stop here. Mendoza gets rid of it. Nowakowski with a catch. Now he's got a combo in front. Nowakowski, turn on the burners. Goodbye. 43-yard touchdown to the tight end.
Well, just a perfect call. Delay tight end screen. He's going to hold, and then they're going to release 3 linemen, and watch the secondary. They're thinking pass down the field, and all of a sudden you got 3 big red jerseys running down the middle of the field, escorting Nowakowski. Perfect execution on the tight end middle screen, and another touchdown for the Hoosier.
28-7, Indiana in complete control. Mendoza just playing a flawless game, and he gets it to a security blanket. Nowakowski, the Wisconsin transfer, weaving his way through the Illini defense to extend the lead even further.
Well, a pair of transfer guys, Pat Coogan, Riley Nowakowski, teaming up for the last Indiana touchdown. There's Coogan, the center. Talked about how much of a leader and an addition he was since he got on campus day 1. Fernando Mendoza said he intentionally wanted to become friends with him, get connected with him, because he respected his leadership. And he really did a nice job leading that play for Nowakowski on the touchdown.
You can see the synergy, center, quarterback, tight end. Mendoza made sure to let us know that his favorite target last year at Cal was his tight end Jack Andrews, who had 56 catches with the Bears. As we check in with the first time today, Catherine Tappan.
Yeah, and guys, Mendoza ran right up to his center after that touchdown. Riley Nowakowski told me this week the key to facing this Illinois defense is Pat Coogan. He said it comes down to who can move who. It's tough for the center to see everything with the different defenses they show, and they try to put people in positions they're not used to being in, so it's really hard to get your targets right. He said it all starts with Cougs for us. He's intentional, he's intelligent, he's a smart guy, and he is the key to the success of this team, guys.
Yeah, and Fernando Mendoza said to us that talking to people that were around Riley Leonard before the draft process, the questions he kept getting asked, if you could bring any player from any era of your career with you along the way in this next step of your journey, who'd you take? He said Pat Coogan 11 times out of 10. First down from the 25. Play action for Altmaier. Quick throw, quick catch. Not much work in there for Tanner Arkin. Chopped down by Lou Moore. This is a huge drive again for Illinois. Let's not forget, Indiana won the toss, elected to defer to the second half.
Yeah. Well, it's not only a huge drive to try to get some points, but just to let your defense rest also, because Aaron Henry doesn't have any answers right now in how to slow down this Hoosier offense.
Pitch it. Valentine gets 2 before Fisher greets him with a bear hug. So again, here you are on third down. This is an Indiana defense already with 4 sacks and an Illinois offense that's 0 for 5 on third down in this first half.
And can they find Hank Beatty? Can they find a way to get him the ball in space? He's their most dynamic guy. He's in the slot down here.
Altmaier, rush comes. Altmaier trying to get away. He won't. Devoured again. There is no escaping this Hoosier attack. Kellen Wyatt, Mario Landino.
Well, first of all, it's the 2 JMU guys. It's Fisher and it's Kamara. Watch these 2 guys just completely collapse the pocket against the back and the left tackle. And Altmaier has nowhere to go. They overpower those 2 players on their way to the quarterback. They don't get credit for the sack, but they made the play.
So Crimmins out again. His 5th punt of the first half. They're going to take as much time as they can. Crimmins sending it to Brady. Fair catch called for and made at the 35. Indiana with a big lead, getting the football back. The Ryder Cup is live from Bethpage Black Golf Course in New York, where America's Best takes on Europe's elite golfers. It is going to be a fantastic weekend next weekend on NBC, USA, and Peacock. We've got that, the whiteout game, of course, Micah's return to Dallas on Sunday Night Football. A look at the United Cam here in Bloomington. They were jazzed up for this game. All around campus yesterday, walking around, you felt that energy. They have brought the energy. Their team has responded.
Well, Fernando Mendoza has led 3 Indiana scoring drives, and he's a perfect 10 for 10 on those 3 drives. The last one where they scored, he was 3 for 3. Has not missed a pass in the last 3 scoring drives.
Nowakowski had the touchdown the last drive. In motion here. Handoff Black. Stutter step move. Gains 3. Malachi Hood makes the play. So you've got 4 and change here. Indiana is going to be in no rush, getting the football back to start the second half, up 21 points. And Luke Altmaier, who said there's no defense that he can see at this point that he hasn't seen before, is somehow searching for answers.
Well, they can't protect him. They can't protect him in passing situations, so they got to maybe throw the ball in run situations and run some in pass situations.
Another solid run. Time now for a game break. Here's Ahmed Fareed.
Let's go to Austin, Texas. Sam Houston taking on the Longhorns, checking with Arch Manning, using his legs, getting in. Also has a passing touchdown, 168 yards through the air for Arch. A little taunting at the end of this play as well. It is 24-0, 5 minutes to go before the break.
Arch still finding his legs, but Fernando Mendoza looks like he's found his and then some. And this was something that Curt Cignetti mentioned with us yesterday. Curtis Warwick last year, he had a couple of those big games against maybe some lesser competition, gave him confidence going into their first Big Ten game against UCLA, and then they just took off from there. Cooper's back in the game. He's got a catch and a first down.
That's the same kind of play they ran earlier in the game, and Mendoza didn't throw it and tried to run and didn't get the first down. That time, he felt comfortable with the separation Cooper had, get him the ball quickly, and an easy conversion on 3rd and short.
Indiana started 0 for 3, but they've converted their last 3 on 3rd down. Keep this drive rolling, ticking down under 3 to play in this first half.
Good opportunity maybe for a deep ball here. Again, this is a team that plays a lot of man coverage in this Illinois defense.
Quick shot outside. Surratt with a catch out of bounds. He's working against Patterson, got the better of the battle.
The other thing that's really helped Fernando Mendoza is he's not held the ball very long. I mean, the throws have been coming out quickly, a lot of RPOs, a lot of quick throws, and Illinois' rush has not been a factor. Gabe Ackus is one of the best players in the Big Ten, and we haven't even said his name. Number 17 has not been able to get anything going in this game so far.
2nd down and 4, run up the middle. Black has some space, and he accelerates into the secondary, spilled out across the 25 by Tanner Heckel. That'll bring us to the 2-minute timeout after a gain of 23 on the ground, and Indiana is dominating. 2 minutes to play in the second. It's a 21-point game. I'm loving the sweater under the jacket look from Ahmed the last couple of weeks. He's got that rocking recently. 2 minutes to play. here in this first half, and Indiana has just been as dominant as ever. It feels like 2024 all over again.
Yeah.
And Illinois hoping that they can get a stop before the end of the half, as the Hoosiers will get the football to begin the third quarter. You see their offensive line, both sides trying to calm the crowd down so they can hear this snap. To the outside, it's Cooper again. He gets decked out of bounds quickly by Strain.
Well, clearly in the first half, Indiana has won convincingly the game at the line of scrimmage on both the offense and defensive lines, and therefore that's why Fernando Mendoza has had so much better of a first half than Luke Altmaier. They've had a great balance of and mix of run pass, good play calling by Mike Shanahan, and good execution all the way across the board.
Hamby's the back, 2nd down and 2, up the middle, and Hamby has the first down. I mean, this Indiana defense, as you talked about, 5 sacks, 7 tackles for losses, and that guy in particular, Gabe Akis, one of the best players you mentioned in the Big Ten, you could argue in the country. He's got a chance to be a legitimately high draft pick in the NFL this coming year, has been radio silent.
Yeah, he's been a non-factor. I mean, Indiana has neutralized him just with their game plan and how quickly the ball has come out.
And losing that guy to the targeting call, Miles Scott, a huge deal for this Illinois defensive unit. Captain, leading tackler coming in. Here's a first down from the 12. Mendoza to the outside, it's caught. And then E.J. Williams gets swallowed up by Torrey Cox.
Indiana going to use one of their 3 timeouts.
Indiana, their first of the half, 30 seconds.
Well, coming into the game, Akis is a guy you got to have a plan for. He leads the team in sacks, tackles for loss, fumbles forced. But the quick throwing game in the RPOs has really neutralized him. Pretty good job also by Carter Smith, the left tackle, working against him. And then they ran a few plays ago where he had to kind of respect the quarterback, got caught in no man's land, and Black was able to take the ball. Good read by Mendoza. And again, they've taken one of the best players in the Big Ten or in the country and kind of made him a non-factor so far in the first 30 minutes.
So minute 14, Illinois with 2 timeouts. Indiana with 2 timeouts. And we'll see how Curt Cignetti elects to play the clock here. They can get a first down at the 2-yard line. And we'll get the football to start the second half. Mendoza now 14 of 16, a week that after he was 19 of 20. He's got 211 yards and 3 touchdowns. Looking for more here. To the end zone, wide open. Waffle House to the house. Elijah Surratt, touchdown. They don't have to kick many field goals. They kick a lot of these. Another extra point.
Well, this is like stealing for Fernando Mendoza. And again, 5 for 5 on a scoring drive. This guy's in man coverage. He's off so far, and he's inside. I mean, this is so easy for Surratt to keep leverage, run the out, and Mendoza throws to a wide open guy. He shouldn't have that wide open of a receiver that close to the goal line. But Tyler Strain, who is the 3rd-team nickelback, had no chance on that play. Good read by Mendoza. Good route by Surratt. And another impressive scoring drive by the Hoosiers right before the half.
Fernando Mendoza is 15 of 15 on the 4 scoring drives, and Gabe Akis, all he can do is question what's happening to this defense, a defense that was so vaunted last year, that came into this season with all these returning starters believing they were one of the best in the country. And Elijah Surratt now with 33 career receiving touchdowns, the active FBS leader. Fernando Mendoza, Omar Cooper, and this Indiana offense has carved that Illinois unit.
Well, he knew it was going to be a different challenge going against this defense, but he has been sharp. He has been quick with his reads. He's been comfortable in the pocket. He's been clean. And he has been accurate. And he's distributing the ball all over the place. The touchdown to Nowakowski. But again, on 4 scoring drives, 15 for 15. He's not going to want to go into the locker room at halftime. He's going to want to keep on playing. Doesn't want anything to cool him off.
You can imagine that Luke Altmyer and this Illinois side are ready for that half, trying to make some level of adjustment. And this one's almost picked. Oh, Devin Boykin would have walked in for another touchdown.
Well, we talk about the offense. How about this Indiana defense? If you take that long touchdown pass out where there was a bust in coverage and almost another interception, this Illinois offense only has 40 yards in the first half. We watched them last week, 77 yards against Indiana State, but it was Indiana State. Well, this is Illinois, and they've held them to 40 yards of offense so far.
This one is complete. And Cole Rusk, the tight end, gets spun out. Clock ticking with 55 seconds and counting. And a 3rd down incoming. Still no Lawfrey. It's Fagan in the backfield on 3rd and 3. Altmyer, complete. Beatty, first down. And let's see if Brett Bielema uses either of his 2 timeouts.
Well, you don't have to, because they'll stop the clock to move the chains. And again, you've got an experienced quarterback who excels in this part of the game. Last 2 minutes of the half, last 2 minutes of the game.
Pressure comes, feels it, over the middle. Another catch, and a dangerous one for Cole Rusk as he gets blasted. But another first down. This one gains 14.
Brett Bielema says he's never had a quarterback better in these end of half, end of game scenarios.
So Indiana mentioned that there's one position group that they feel they've got to have their starters out there, and you've got to believe it's safeties. Lewis Moore here, the free safety, goes down and is slow to get up after this play. Now remember, Moore is currently in a battle with the NCAA for eligibility after he's argued that his junior college years on that new ruling shouldn't count towards his eligibility. So this is the last week he's definitely confirmed that he can play with this group. Now, of course, if they rule in his favor, the courts do, he can play the rest of the season. But it's an unknown, and right now, more importantly, his health is paramount.
iPhone 17.
At the 44-yard line, another one over the middle, and another completion to Colin Dixon.
Again, the clock stops to move the change. Luke Altmyer getting everybody to the line of scrimmage, saving those timeouts. 20 seconds left, clock running now.
Altmyer on first down. This time he finally does have time. Gets out of the pocket, fires downfield, and incomplete.
Yeah, the only problem is that took a lot of time. They're down to 9 seconds now. It wasn't there to throw quick. He had to hold it, try to extend the play, and used a lot of time here at the end of the first half.
So now you got 9 seconds. The ball currently at the Indiana 28-yard line, and we'll see. There's defensive coordinator Brian Haynes for the Hoosiers in his second season, just 38 years old. One of the hot commodities in the coaching world. We'll see what Barry Lundy, the offensive coordinator for Illinois, goes with and how aggressive he'll get.
Luke Altmyer knows he can't take a sack here. He's been sacked 5 times in the first half. Can't take one here.
And now Indiana's going to take their second timeout.
Indiana, their second of the half, 30 seconds.
Good news for the Hoosiers is that Lewis Moore was back on the field, ready for that last play. And Kurt Cignetti, doesn't matter if they're up 35-7, doesn't matter if they're up 73-0. The thing that he said, we don't want to humiliate anybody. That's not our philosophy. He said, we just want to play every play the same regardless of the score. Do your job. He said it's about creating habits, practicing, and playing that way, because now, think back to those games against Ohio State and Notre Dame last year. You get up 21-3 against a good team, you have to know how to put them away. Yep. Or you're in a one-score game in the fourth quarter, you have to know how to play the same way.
Well, you know, he spent 4 years before he started his head coaching journey, 4 years at Alabama as a tight end coach, wide receiver coach, recruiting coordinator under Nick Saban. And Nick Saban was very similar in terms of sticking to your process, play one play at a time, regardless of the result. Play every play like the game is on the line for that play.
See if Illinois takes a shot towards the end zone or tries to get into a closer field goal range. Altmaier with 8 seconds left. Letting it develop. Get it to the outside, and he just throws it a little high for Beatty. So now 5 seconds left. It's at the 28. This would be about a 46-yard field goal, and that's what they're going to have to settle for.
And that's a bad throw by Luke Altmaier. I mean, he's got to make that throw. He's got to give his kicker a better chance. He wanted something bigger. It wasn't there. Take that safe throw, but you got to make an accurate throw. He got protection that time, but he did not make a good throw.
So Olano's season-long 35, career-long is 50. This one's from 46. He's not known as a distance kicker. This would just be a huge sigh going to the locker room to get some more points on the board for Illinois. And the kick from Olano. On line, and plenty of distance. He nails it. So Illinois does get some points to end the first half, but the crowd here in Bloomington serenading their Hoosiers after an impressive first 2 quarters. Indiana up 35-10 on the number 9 team in the country. Curt Cignetti, we'll see if he's generally pleased. He's with KT.
Coach, you told us one of the keys in this game would be putting pressure on their quarterback. 5 sacks in the first half on Luke Altmaier. What's working for your defense?
Well, we're getting to the quarterback, and, you know, it all started with the pump block. Then we busted the coverage on their touchdown. And then we put heat on the quarterback. Offense made a lot of explosive plays. I don't like the last drive, but we do get the ball first in the second half.
Fernando Mendoza has shown great poise through the first half. What more do you want to see from your offense?
More points.
Thanks, Coach. Noah?
It is not much more that can be done offensively. 35 first half points, on pace for another 70-burger against one of the best defenses in the country for Curt Cignetti and company. A 35-10 lead. We'll check in with the studio next at the half in Bloomington. This first half recap is brought to you by Geico. Get more with Geico. Time now for the Big Bulletin, brought to you by Genesis Motor America. A dominant effort in the first half from Merchants Bank Field at Memorial Stadium for Indiana, 35-10, and defensively they were menacing. 5 sacks was tied for the most in the first half in the last decade. 7 TFLs. This season, the first 2 weeks, Fernando Mendoza getting his sea legs under him a little bit. But in the last 2 weeks, and he barely played in the second half last week, he's played 2 quarters today, more yards, more than double the touchdowns, only 3 incompletions total. The wide receivers have done their job. 10 total catches between Surratt and Cooper. 2 touchdowns between the 2 of them, 61 and 73 yards apiece. And number 3 and number 13 in the Crimson are ready to rock once again. They will get the football to start this second half with a 25-point cushion for Curt Cignetti's team. You heard what he said he wanted out of the offense. More points coming into the second half. Olano sends it away into the end zone. We go to KT.
Well, Noah, they might be able to get them because this Illinois defense is depleted. Already starting the game without Xavier Scott. Miles Scott gone for the second half after that targeting penalty in the first. Set corner Caleb Patterson left the field in the first half on crutches. The shoe removed from his right foot. Brett Bielema just told me he's having x-rays. He is out. He said we're down to our 3rd string guys. On offense, star running back Aiden Lawfrey missed last week's game. In the lineup tonight, he's been on the sidelines, helmet on. Bielema said he just didn't feel like he was ready to go in warm-ups. He said, I like the way we ended the first half, and we're just going to have to keep pushing here in the second, guys.
We'll see what their defense can do, and that is 3 key losses in the back line. A back line run by Aaron Henry, a former defensive back that likes to get the communication in that back line as Green Dot is off the field and Miles Scott. Let's see if they have a response. That's a good start for the Illinois defense. Just a couple yards for Hemby on first down.
Well, you mentioned the tackles for loss, the negative yardage plays. That's what Aaron Henry's defense has not been able to create against this Indiana offense. I mean, they've been behind the sticks, and Indiana has just kind of been in favorable situations on 2nd down, 3rd down, and have not been able to push him back very much and get it into a defensive down and distance.
2nd down and 7. Feels like Indiana, after that first offensive series, has been ahead of schedule every step of the way. Mendoza looking to escape. Last second, he finds Surratt. The question is whether or not he stepped out of bounds before the first down. It is a first down catch, an extra yard after the fact for Surratt.
Yeah, it looked like they were faking the screen and going to take a shot down the field. It wasn't there, and a nice little improv job by Mendoza to extend the play. Kind of a funky arm angle, still able to get it out to Surratt for another completion and a first down.
Good poise from the QB. And both receivers just about even. 5 catches, 73 yards, and a touchdown for Cooper. 6-71 in the score for Surratt. Now Hemby with a couple more tough yards as he'll take it to the 41-yard line.
And this Indiana offense, we haven't mentioned this, they lost a key contributor, Lee Beebe, number 29. He was one of the running backs who was in this rotation of 3 guys and was really running well, had a non-contact knee injury a week ago, and he's lost for the season. We haven't seen the freshman yet, Kobe Martin, who will kind of assume that number 3 role.
It's been Hemby and Black. They've had a couple of long ones, but more than anything, just consistent up the middle. This time out of the backfield, Hemby shows off the speed and the strength on the end as he trucks Tyler Strain. First down.
This is just good work again. Get the ball to Hemby in space. He's a running back out there with some green grass and shows the power. That's just a nice read by Mendoza.
Mendoza's going to keep this time, and he'll pick up 4, maybe 5 before being taken down by Heckel. 13 straight completions for Fernando Mendoza as well. Talked about settling in and the difference of week 1, week 2, week 3, now week 4. You're seeing it in full display. Mendoza looks comfortable with this offense.
Yeah, 311 yards of total offense so far in the ball game. The first 3 games they ran for over 300 yards and they had explosive pass plays. They're not going to get close to 300, I don't think, running it, but they've run it well enough to keep this defense off balance.
And they'll run it again here. Black is going to stumble forward to the 40. James Thompson will add a tackle to his tally. So 3rd and short, and there again is your difference. Luke Altmaier's been dealing in 3rd and long, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 13. This Indiana offense, it's been 3rd and short any chance they've had.
They've been efficient. The play calling has been outstanding. And they've really kept this Illinois defense on their heels.
Can the Illini come up with a big stop to open up the second half? Cooper in motion. Up the middle, a lot of space. Black is gone. Kalon, touchdown, 40-yard sprint to the end zone.
Well, watch Cooper again. He's going to come and get a great block on the end. The guy who was guarding him in man coverage runs right by the play, number 5, and then the safety takes a bad angle. Resetich, who's in there because of the injury or the targeting foul on Miles Scott. Bad angle to the football and a long touchdown run for the Hoosiers.
There is no stopping this wagon. One-way traffic for Indiana, and the route continues. It's Black finally busting one loose. 74 yards and his first touchdown of the day. Extends it 42-10. With Discovery, fans can earn cash back on their game day purchases. Well, last night, Bloomington North, big-time victory. 56-0 at home. Putting on for their hometown fans and getting it done just like the Hoosiers are here on their home field. Merchants Bank Field at Memorial Stadium, newly named this year. And the team has activated all of that dominant effort that we saw last year in so many games. This was their first chance to prove that they could take that next step, compete with the big boys at the top of the college football table. They have passed that test up to this point. Illinois will get the football for the first time in the second half, down 42-10.
Well, D'Angelo Pons, we've talked about him. He's so much fun to watch. Starts off the game with the block punt and the scoop and score. He's 5'9", 173 pounds. But Brian Haynes, the defensive coordinator, calls him his cheat code because he says if he can lock down the boundary in man coverage, then I can not worry about that part of the field. I can shift all my coverage away. He made one mistake tonight when he kind of guessed on a route and they threw the ball deep. But other than that, he has been on lockdown, and He is a guy that plays much bigger and much more physical than his frame would suggest.
Aiden Fisher says he thinks that he's 6'3" and runs a 4.3. That was a dangerous, nearly picked off ball as Lewis Moore got a hand on it.
Yeah, just reading the quarterback's eyes, and the slant route comes right underneath it. Luke Altmaier not picking him up in his vision. And that's the second time that could have been a pick six very easily for the Hoosier defense.
Fagan in there at 2nd down and 10. And again, trying to get back in front of schedule. Screen pass, not much room to work with. Dixon gets spun down as Boykin comes up to make another play. Gains just 3, and again, 3rd and a long 7. Eight drives for this Illinois offense to this point. They punted on 6 of them. See an average of 8.6 yards to go on 3rd down. Already 5 sacks for this Indiana defense. Got to get off the field, and they do in time. They bring 4. They get home with 4. Mario Landino is unblockable.
Blandino was one of the guys who came on the field late. Watch him just power right through the middle. Does a great job. Quickness off the ball. Runs right through the right guard. Brandon Henderson, number 75. And again, just Luke Altmaier doesn't have much of a chance. In the passing situations on 3rd down, Indiana is overwhelming this veteran offensive line group of Illinois. Their 6th sack of the ball game.
Crimmins, 6th punt of the night. Brady's going to try to return this one from the 23. Finds a seam. Brady is going to be swarmed just past midfield. Indiana starts in plus territory with a big lead.
Last week they had 5 sacks and 16 tackles for loss against Indiana State. Same kind of numbers tonight against a much better team in Illinois. But when they've gotten Luke Altmaier into passing situations, they have overwhelmed the offensive line. They're not necessarily blitzing. They're not bringing extra people. They're just whipping them with 4 or 5 guys. And Brett Bielema has to be really upset and disappointed because he felt at least his offensive
Number
line
20 of the kicking
would be able to compete.
Went out of bounds on his own and came back inbounds during the kick. The 5-yard penalty will be enforced from the dead ball spot, where it'll be 1st and 10.
So what was already elite field position gets even better for Fernando Mendoza and this offense. And we'll see how long Mendoza stays out there now with a 32-point lead, 9:59 to play in the 3rd. Luke Altmaier, as Todd said, just hasn't had time to operate in the pocket, out of the pocket. It's been you blink, you lose. Meanwhile, Mendoza, go back again to what Curt Cignetti talked about, building good habits no matter the time, no matter the score. You've got to imagine they're going to keep their foot on the gas pedal here.
And I would imagine Mendoza will be quarterback for the rest of this game.
I see what you did there. Surratt to the outside, can't spin away from the ankle tackle of Cox. So Surratt with 7 catches. There's Alberto Mendoza, the redshirt freshman, who was here last year and helped provide Fernando with a clear picture of what he might be walking into here in Bloomington. As Fernando said, the good, the bad, well, there wasn't much bad, and then he goes, there wasn't really any ugly either. There's a lot of good.
The other thing he mentioned that was made an impression on him is how much the football IQ of his brother Alberto grew in the 1 year of being here.
Hamby up the middle has the 1st down. Well, to your point, he said, oh no, he's going to pass me soon. I can't let that happen. I got to get there and make sure I'm getting the same level of tutelage that my brother has had for a year plus. And he said, on top of that, it's such a competitive sport, a competitive position in most places. As Omar Cooper makes the catch and gets spun around by Heckel. But having somebody that you know behind you has your back, wants to see you succeed, has your best interests in mind, can help alleviate some of that stress.
Well, whatever he's doing to help his brother keep it up. I mean, 19 of 21 now, 251 yards, 4 touchdowns for Mendoza. Fernando, that is. And Illinois just with no answers, not able to put pressure, not able to stop the run.
2nd and 5. Mendoza wants Cooper in motion once again. Hemby swallowed up. Bryant got there quick.
Well, that time, Alec Bryant got the better of the matchup with Omar Cooper. Cooper's done a nice job blocking tonight, but that time, Alec Bryant was ready for him. Watch Cooper come back, and he's going to try to block 3-on-3 here. And this time, Alec Bryant gets rid of the wide receiver and falls in to make the tackle.
Approaching the midway point of this third quarter, Indiana took the football, went right down the field, and scored on a touchdown from Kalon Black.
Timeout, Indiana, their first of the half.
And they will take it before this 3rd and 4. 7:44 to play. Third quarter in Bloomington. The Hoosiers making a statement for the rest of the country. Big Ten Saturday Night is brought to you by Progressive Insurance, for coverage you can count on. And by Valvoline. Maximize the life of your engine with Restore and Protect. Well, Buffalo's is a staple here in Bloomington. They teamed up with Alberto and Fernando Mendoza to create the Mendoza Bros Burger, raising funds for the MS Society in honor of their mother's courageous fight against multiple sclerosis. You get a taste of that pregame?
I ate one.
Oh, you ate a whole thing?
I ate a whole one. I mean, my Taste of the Town history demanded that I eat the whole thing. even though it was a little too much mustard for my particular taste.
Sure.
I like mustard on hot dogs, but not necessarily burgers, but it was good. Now, Ty Guy, he just took one bite and said, that's too much mustard.
That was incredibly accurate. Our stat man to the stars, Tyler Freed. 3rd and 4 for Mendoza, and he's got the angle for the first down. Just a little bit of everything. Mendoza showing the full arsenal here in this matchup tonight.
Yeah, he's just made all good decisions, right? There has not been a lot of pressure. This time Illinois forces him out of the pocket. He doesn't force the issue. He gets what he needs for the first down with his legs.
Brett Bielema, you've got to wonder. He came in feeling really confident about his team. He sat down with them yesterday. You could feel how he felt about his group, all the returning starters from last year, a team that won 10 games. First down, carry, Hemby, across the 15 to the 14-yard line. But for Brett Bielema, it's going to be back to the drawing board after this one. Now, the good news for them is the only game against the quote-unquote big boys, if you're just going to count Oregon, Ohio State, Penn State, that they have, is against Ohio State at home. But Luke Altmaier and Miles Scott and this veteran group, they have more than enough ability to get back and refocus. This is a tough one to potentially recover.
And I'll tell you what, I don't look now, but I think USC is trying to play big boy football.
No doubt.
They visit Illinois next week.
1st and goal after the run from Hemby. Rosiak will add another tackle. It'll certainly help if they can get Xavier Scott back, but there was no real sense of when he was going to be back on the field.
No sense of the timeline, was there?
No. Akis has been fairly non-existent here tonight. KT mentioned it. Caleb Patterson was getting worked on and dealt with after going down towards the end of the first half. Having Rosiak back on the field is great, but now you've lost so much in that back line for Aaron Henry in this defense.
Yeah, a lot of 2nd and 3rd teamers that are out there. I love that Miles Scott is still actively involved on the sideline. That's what captains do.
Mendoza, handoff, Hemby spins away, and it's 2nd and goal inside the 5. You brought up the addition of Pat Coogan. It just feels like the small things that many outsiders don't think about. Everybody hears about Mendoza and Roman Hemby, who had a great couple of years at Maryland, and a couple of the splash guys defensively. But Pat Coogan might have been the biggest pickup for this team, to have him right there in the middle leading the charge.
Well, you solidify the O-line. He's the anchor. He's the communicator. He's the defensive identifier. Look at those eyes working, pointing out who they're responsible for in protection, and on the same page with his quarterback, Mendoza.
2nd and goal. Mendoza, end zone, touchdown. Too easy. Elijah Surratt has his 2nd. And count them, 5 scores for Fernando.
It's man coverage with pressure. There's going to be an unblocked man right here. Mendoza knows it, but watch this route by Surratt. Watch him turn Torrey Cox completely out, inside out, gets inside leverage, and Mendoza, knowing pressure's coming, gets rid of the football for the touchdown.
49-10. Mendoza, for the second consecutive week, has 5 touchdown passes, tying his career high. Just having a sensational evening. Finds his #1 receiver, Surratt, and they continue to churn it out at home. Sunday night, big game. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs looking for their first win. They take a road trip to New York. Russell Wilson, the Giants, they need their first win. Sunday, 7 Eastern, NBC and Peacock. Mike, Chris, and Melissa have all the coverage. And this feels like the time in the romantic comedy when everything's going against you, and then out of nowhere the skies and heavens open up and it downpours. This happened immediately after that last touchdown, and Illinois is feeling the rain, not just physically, but also of the Hoosier offense that has been unstoppable. Let's go down to KT.
Yeah, guys, you talk about Indiana's defense. Mikhail Kamara told me that he decided to forego the NFL draft last spring and return to Indiana for that final year because he saw the potential with this team. He sees the confidence in everyone in it. He said, I felt like if I came back, this team has a chance of winning a national championship. He talked to guys like Aiden Fisher to see where everyone's head was at, and he said, I just feel like I had to be that last piece that can get it done, and that was exciting for me, playing my last year with the boys for a chance to win it all, and they're certainly showing tonight like that might be a possibility, guys.
And the way they're playing here in this game against a top 10 team, again, first real test for Indiana. Curt Cignetti said they were going to learn a lot about their team. Well, they learned their team is tough, is ferocious. They fly around. Kellen Wyatt adds another TFL, and Mikhail Kamara has to just feel thrilled with the decision that he made to come back, boost his stock, and also, as KT said, play with his brothers one more time.
13 players from James Madison came with Curt Cignetti last year. There's still 5 or 6 of them around this year.
And Altmaier throws it away. 3rd down.
Kamara is one of them. Aiden Fisher is one of them. Tyreek Tucker is one of them. Angelo Pons is one of them. They want more than they got last year. And they're taking a major step so far in this game tonight towards that. Another 3rd and long situation. Maybe try moving the pocket. Maybe try changing the launch point for Luke Altmaier. Get away from this pressure.
5th different 3rd down of 10+ yards for Illinois. And the pressure got home, batted up and incomplete. Fisher was there. Again, Landino was there. And Indiana forces another 3 and out.
I think it was Landino who got a hand on the football. Watch him, here he is. He's had an active night. They're trying to just throw a quick screen. All right, we can't protect. Let's at least just throw the quick screen. And Landino says, no, not going to let that happen either. Another punt situation for the Illini. Just total domination up front by the Hoosiers.
Crowd letting Illinois hear it. Clemens will send it away again to Brady, who had a nice return on the last one. This time he calls for the fair catch, makes it just in front of the 30-yard line. All Indiana at home. Fans treated to a good one, and now with the rain coming down, the Hoosiers in prime position.
Well, Fernando Mendoza has had a wonderful night, in part because his top 2 targets have also had great nights. Omar Cooper showing his yard after the catch ability, and Elijah Surratt, the most dependable target for this Indiana team the last couple of years. Big body frame around the goal line, a couple touchdowns. Together, 14 catches and 3 touchdowns to lead the way for this Hoosier passing attack.
They've got a combination of 159 yards. Illinois total has 139, and that includes a 59-yard touchdown to Dixon in the first quarter. So we'll see how long Fernando Mendoza stays in there. Black with another productive run, and he gains 10 on first down.
My guess is he'll play till the end of the 3rd quarter. You know, I think Curt Cignetti wants his regular guys to just play, you know, close to a full game, at least 3 full quarters. And then you might start seeing backups at skill positions and offensive linemen.
To say that this is one-sided would be a ridiculous understatement. You look at those stats as they appear on the screen, and yet Curt Cignetti still looks displeased. Mendoza keeps this time around the edge, stays on his feet, and then just wiggles his way out of bounds.
Yeah, smart decision to get out of bounds. I mean, at this point in the game, really no reason to take an unnecessary hit.
And now this is what Illinois can't have. Mac Rusetich came in as the green dot for Miles Scott, who was disqualified because of targeting. Patterson is already out. Xavier Scott is already out. They can't afford to lose Rusetich as well. And so now where does the communication come from? Sabor Kareem looks like he's probably going to come in on this play, which is a 2nd and 4.
Maybe they can try it without a green dot for a while, because whatever they've been communicating has not really been working.
2nd and 4. Mendoza looking to get away. He won't. It's a sack by Joe Barna as we go to KT.
Yeah, guys, well, you were talking about Coach Cignetti, and Riley Nowakowski, a Wisconsin transfer, told me Cignetti's the same guy you see in the media as he is on the field. He appreciates that his head coach is a straight shooter, doesn't sugarcoat anything. He said Cignetti is responsible. He's the guy that's responsible for this professionalism and culture within the team. Everyone buying in for the common goal, guys.
On top of that, the culture that he's put forth, it's felt on the field by opponents.
Yeah.
And that's what, when we talked with Aiden Fisher, he brought up as Kellen Wyatt came over from Maryland. Quick catch for Surratt. Good blocking in front. Plenty of yards for the first down. He said, he asked Wyatt, why'd you decide to come to Indiana? He goes, well, you guys were ferocious. You were unrelenting.
Yeah.
We couldn't do anything. And he said, it made me want to join. I looked at it and I said, that's how I want to play football.
Yeah.
And that's a common feeling right now around Bloomington, is people want to play for this guy and for this culture. And with these guys like Elijah Surratt, who looks like he got a little nicked up after that last play.
Yeah, you can't emphasize enough how incredible of a job Curt Cignetti did last year. In 1 year at Indiana, a team that was 3-9 the year before, a team that in the 29 years before he got here had only 3 winning seasons to win 11 games.
Black the carry and scampers forward for 4. Take another look at what happened to Surratt on the previous play, who's got 9 catches, 92 yards, and 2 scores. So he got some extra yards, and then can't really see exactly what it was.
You know, when we talked to Mike Shanahan, he said uncharacteristically he had a couple lackadaisical drops early in the season. Mike coaches the wide receivers specifically, and he's really happy with the way that Surratt has kind of shaken that off and kind of been back to performing at the level they expect. And, of course, Omar Cooper has shown the consistency that he lacked a year ago.
First time we're seeing Kobe Martin today. He's got the carry up the middle, surging forward, and he moves the sticks. Just ran into Pat Farrell. We'll see if that's the final play of the 3rd quarter, but Martin's going to be filling in for Lee Beebe, who, as Todd mentioned, out for the season with a knee injury, non-contact last week. Curt Cignetti did a wellness check on him, said, hey, how you feeling? He goes, Coach, I'm all good. It's all part of God's plan. He's got 2 years left of eligibility. Luke Altmaier, this is his final year of eligibility. And the first real big test for this version, the 2025 version of Illinois, has been a brutal one. For Altmaier, his offense, this defense, it's been all Hoosiers. Fernando Mendoza, nearly perfect. 21 of 23, 267, 5 touchdowns. And Indiana extends what was a 25-point halftime lead to a 39-point lead into the 4th quarter. Hoosiers all up on Big Ten Saturday night. Aerial coverage brought to you by Ford. Ready, set, Ford. Well, this has been illuminating, to say the least, here through 3 quarters in Bloomington. It's been all IU. And we talked to Aiden Fisher this week. He said, yeah, it's been a little different just outside because now people, last year this didn't happen. People were coming up to him this year in class and saying, how are you going to stop the run? Yeah. Well, they've internalized all of it. They have gone out and played Cignetti football.
Yeah, this has just been total domination. 432 yards to 139. They've dominated the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. And I don't know if anybody saw this coming except maybe one person. That was Curt Cignetti. When we talked to him, he seemed very confident about the game today.
Alberto Mendoza's the quarterback, and the run from Martin, weaving his way through, gets to the 31-yard line. So Fernando Mendoza's day is done. 21 of 23, 267 yards, 5 touchdowns, and finished the day with 17 straight completions.
And credit his offensive line, too, because he never really got touched. I mean, he had clean pockets. The ball was coming out. Great play calling by Mike Shanahan, keeping this Illinois defense off balance. And then he just executed at a very high level, and now he gets to watch his little brother play.
Alberto last week, 6 of 9, 104 yards, 2 touchdowns against Indiana State. Another handoff, big hole, kiss him goodbye, touchdown Kobe Martin, 31 yards on the ground. Radicic again.
We talk about Pat Coogan, what a great center he is. Watch him work with the left guard here. It starts as a double team, and then he comes to the second level. This is exactly how you draw it up. Come off to the second level, pick up the linebacker. Your tight end cuts off the end man, and it's a free run to the end zone. Good execution and blocking by the offensive line. And I got to believe that's going to be the last possession for Pat Coogan and this starting offensive line as well.
Everybody's fired up. Oh, wait, nope, not everybody. 99% of people are fired up.
Maybe he smiles on the inside.
Well, as I said, he said he's never pleased on the sideline. It takes him until he gets to his office hours after the game and cracks open a beer. Pat Coogan, a leader.
He also said he doesn't like to look around, even if his team is winning big, and seeing a bunch of guys laughing and smiling on the sideline. Wants them locked in for all 60 minutes.
Valentine's going to take it out a few yards deep, and he just gets walloped there. Time for a game break. Here's Ahmed Fareed. All right, Ahmed. So Mizzou with Bo Pribula continuing to showcase their offense. Pat Coogan in this offensive line. Yeah, there's some teeth. I think that was the other quote from some of his players. Kurt said that he doesn't like seeing teeth on the sideline. And Mendoza still looks locked in. He'll go to help his brother Alberto, who came in to finish that last series. First down line here brought to you by T-Mobile. Luke Altmaier, Caden Fagan, starting offense still out there for Illinois. They have been shut out in this second half. Pitch to Fagan on the outside. Good blocking in front, lowers the shoulder and picks up 6.5.
Well, again, part of the reason why the starters are out there, it's been a tough night, but they've got to find some positive momentum here in the last 14 minutes and some change of the football game, because they've got to play USC next week at home. It's going to be a big game against a good team that's playing with a lot of confidence right now, and so they've got to find some kind of momentum, some positive energy to take into next week.
USC takes on Michigan State in a little over half an hour. That one is caught, and there's no running room for Hudson Clement. Third down once again. And again, just to go back to what Curt Cignetti, because there are so many people that watch these Indiana games and say, why is he still playing so, why is everyone still playing so hard? Playing a lot of guys that play legit. This is what he does. It's culture building. He said it. We're not trying to embarrass anyone. He wants to see all-out effort, all-out Cignetti football all the time, no matter the score, no matter the time, no matter the circumstance. So here's another opportunity for his defense on a 3rd and 4. Rush comes. Kamara still in there. Altmaier gets tracked down. Tyreek Tucker with the 7th Hoosier sack of the night.
He just beats the center, Kreutz, and then gets a hand on the quarterback. Here he is right here. He's going to beat the center. 64, Kreutz gets by him, gets a hand on the quarterback, and doesn't let go. And there were other Hoosiers close by in case Tucker didn't get him to the ground.
Tyreek Tucker, backup last year. We asked Aiden Fisher about him. He said it's his time now. And he has taken the reins of that position on the interior defensive line. This is the 8th punt for Keelan Crimmins. He came in with 8 on the season, has doubled his total here tonight in Bloomington. And the Hoosiers showing out all the way through.
Oh, what a feeling. Nico Reed with a tremendous hit. Oregon is going to defeat Penn State for the Big Ten championship.
So you can say, great, rematch of the Big Ten title game, but then add in the fact that it's the whiteout at Penn State.
That's right.
It is going to be loud. It is going to be energetic. And 2 of the best teams in the country going toe-to-toe. Run to the outside. Kobe Martin takes a pop and gains 12. That's going to be exciting next week. And another one, we felt like this was a game of demarcation for these 2 teams.
Yeah.
Which one was ready to compete with the big boys? Which one was still somewhat trying to figure out if they could get to that next step? We have the answer. Indiana is certainly on that trajectory that they're going to be towards the top of the conference. Next week is that same type of vibe. Is Penn State ready to take down one of the big dogs, the Big Ten regular season and title game champion in Oregon from a year ago?
Yeah. And Dante Moore, we've seen Fernando Mendoza play great tonight. Dante Moore's off to a great start for the Ducks, but that will be a real challenge for him going into Happy Valley and playing in the whiteout game.
Martin wiggles free for 10 more. So the rushing stats starting to pile up now for this Indiana offense. That's what they've really leaned on through the first 3 games of the season. This is the top 10. Bye weeks at the top 2 for Ohio State and Penn State. LSU dominating Miami in a tight one in that rivalry game with Florida. Georgia with a bye. We mentioned Oregon, the win 41-7 over Oregon State. Florida State took care of business against Kent State. Texas fully in control against Sam Houston. And then this Illinois team after A&M with a bye as well. This is going to be interesting to see where Illinois falls. Will they fall completely out of the top 25 after a performance like this? Will last season's results give them enough leeway? Will the top 10 ranking for them for the first time in 24 years give them enough leeway that they'll still be ranked as they head into the matchup at home against USC next week?
And that's part of the reason why I don't like preseason polls and don't really think there should be any kind of a poll in college football until at least you've played through the month of September. This game and the next week, the end of September, you start to find out the reality of teams. You could also look at Indiana and say, boy, this doesn't look like the 19th ranked team in the country either. They look like they should be ranked a lot higher. Well, after games like this is when you kind of start to sort those things out.
Indiana last year, it was similar where they were beating opponents that people deemed were lesser than them by a wide margin, large margins. Go to UCLA and just pummel the Bruins. And then it kept going. And it kept going. They didn't trail for the first 9 games of the season, but it took them several weeks after the fact that it probably should have for them to even crack that top 25. To your point, a lot of it was just the preseason expectations and what people expected just because of a 3-win team coming back. All these new players coming from James Madison going into the Big Ten. Are they realistically Big Ten players? They've proven all of it. They've silenced all of the critics, and here they are up 56-10 and just full control at home.
Yeah, and make no mistake, the schedule last year and the schedule this year,
way different.
Curt Cignetti, but he didn't cause any of those. He didn't put any of those schedules together. You just got to play who the schedule says you play.
To the outside, and Solomon Van Horst lowers the shoulder and gets the 30. To your point, and this is what Cignetti was telling us yesterday, you look back at the year prior, Michigan won the national championship. They had him on the schedule last year. Washington was with them in the national championship. They had him in the schedule last year. Nebraska was ranked at one point, and they just beat them badly. So you look at the schedule, in theory, it probably should have been better in terms of strength than it was. But this year, they're going to have some real challenges. This was their first one. They go to Iowa next week. That is not an easy place to play. Then a bye week before they go to Autzen. And that's going to be just a potential heavyweight battle based on what we've seen tonight. We still haven't seen Alberto Mendoza attempt to pass, and we won't here as Van Horst takes it up the middle for a first down.
Well, right now, Indiana is just saying, look, we're going to run the football. And if you don't stop us, we're going to score another touchdown. We're going to go over 60. But we're going to give you a chance to stop us. But we're not going to be cute. We're not going to be fancy. We're going to come right at you.
So here's that schedule. Felt like coming in, if Indiana wanted to get back to the college football playoff, and of course it's so early in the season, they'd have to win tonight, which they're going to do, and then you'd have to find a way to win either at Oregon or at Penn State.
Yeah.
One of those two, and you run the table the rest of the way, you can basically shoe them in for a college football playoff spot again. Martin stays in there, first down carry, and with good blocking, he gets it across the 25-yard line as we check in with Ahmed Fareed. Interesting to see Arizona State, similar to Illinois, brought back so many starters from a team that was so great last year and had that great run down the stretch in the season in the Big 12, but faltered early in the year and now behind against a Baylor team that's had a stellar start at 2-1. Martin stays on his feet. First and goal, Indiana.
It's a tired Illinois defense and a running back with some fresh legs who, you know, he wants to get his carries. He ran for over 100 yards against Indiana State a week ago, and he's just getting work done. Keeps his legs moving, keeps his balance, and adds yards after contact. Again, his role is going to take on a little more prominence now with the injury to Lee Beebe. Good to get him game reps right now.
He had a career-high rushing yards last week at 109. He's up to 89, looking for more, and he's got another touchdown. Second of the night for Kobe Martin. And Indiana is up over 60 here at home.
Well, just excellent blocking. Watch left guard block. Left tackle gets to the second level. Tight end cuts off the end man. And running back Kobe Martin just runs right through the gap into the end zone. Just simple zone blocking.
In the first half, it was the passing attack with 220 yards through the air for Indiana. In the second half, it's been the rushing attack. 208 second half rushing yards, pummeling now, 63-10. Let's go back to October of 2020. Number 8 Penn State here in Bloomington to take on Indiana. That's Michael Penix at quarterback for the Hoosiers. 2-point conversion, dives for it, just gets the pylon. Indiana takes down number 8 Penn State 36-35 in overtime. That was actually, I think, the first time I've seen Michael Penix without a do-rag, by the way. He showers with that thing. And time for a look at the United Cam here in Bloomington. So that was the last time that Indiana has taken down a top 10 opponent. Fans here were awesome from the start. They got here early before kickoff, made sure they were in their seats, loud, ready to go. We expected a great environment. Curt Cignetti mentioned it. Early last season, they weren't selling out, but they did set an attendance record by the end of the season, and they're well on their way to doing the same thing here this year as they have continued to beat down on this Illinois team. You got to wonder how the Illini are going to recover after this one. They go back home, take on a currently ranked USC team, then at Purdue, before welcoming in the top team in the country prior to their bye week. This is just, it has to be such a difficult game to mentally and physically recover from.
Well, it definitely will be difficult. It won't be a very pleasant bus ride home for sure. But this is, you know, this is where Brett Bielema has to do his thing, you know, and keep this team together. It helps that he's got so many veteran guys back, including Luke Altmaier. It wasn't their night in any phase, in any way, shape, or form. But there's a lot of football left to be played in this 2025 season. They've got to figure out a way to get it back on the right track.
Ethan Hampton is in at quarterback, transfer from Northern Illinois, was a starter in that victory against Notre Dame last year, that upset in week 2 of the season. 7-3 record as a starting quarterback with the Huskies. Has been a nice presence in the quarterback room as he hands off. Valentine will get away for a first down, and we check in with Ahmed.
Yeah, no, we got another score in Waco. Arizona State quarterback Sam Leavitt looking for Jordan Tyson. 19 yards for the score. 7-play, 84-yard drive in just over 3 minutes. 2-point conversion. Good. Arizona State up a touchdown.
Battle in the Big 12. We've seen A good one between Miami and Florida as well. Another one to Elsie on the outside. And Elsie was somebody who had been a factor for this team over the last couple of years. Now a junior from Chicago. Just hasn't had that same impact with the offense that they expected him to coming into the season. We'll see if maybe a couple catches late in this game can get him going as they head into now a crucial bounce back over the next couple of weeks. Handoff, and Valentine has the first down.
You know, we've talked a lot about the Indiana culture and what Curt Cignetti has done and what the players have bought in with. You know, Illinois under Brett Bielema has got a pretty solid culture too, and he's done a great job. And this is where you have to lean into your culture. I mean, you go through a loss like this, and it hurts, and it's embarrassing, and it's going to be tough to watch the film. But then you got to flush it, and you got to trust that you still have the right process and the right culture to get this thing back on track.
Hampton unloads, tipped and picked. Amari Farrell scooped it up before it hit the ground, and there's the turnover for this Illinois offense. As if Indiana hadn't done enough already, they add one more check to the list. Heads up play from Farrell. Hoosiers take it away, cruising to the finish. Time now for the upcoming schedule presented by Discover. Well, this Indiana team is going to stay on our family networks. Peacock has them 3:30 Eastern at Iowa. That's a tough place to play, tough defense to play. Iowa eked out the win yesterday at Rutgers. And then, of course, as mentioned, 7:30 Eastern, NBC and Peacock, the whiteout game at Penn State. Currently number 6 Oregon, number 2 Penn State. Rematch of the Big Ten title game. That's where Curt Cignetti expects to be this year.
You know, and Penn State very similar to this Indiana team in terms of their early season schedule. 3 non-conference games against inferior opponents. Won all of them pretty handily. They're on a bye this week. We'll get a truer test of the Nittany Lions next Saturday against Oregon.
Kobe Martin for 2 yards. Other stories around the Big Ten. This was a big game earlier in the day. Michigan takes down Nebraska 30-27. The freshman Bryce Underwood, 61 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. The final game of the suspensions this season for Sharon Moore. Biff Poggi getting back-to-back victories as the acting head coach. And then how about another freshman, Malik Washington at quarterback? He has played some really impressive football through the first month of the season.
Yeah, he looks very poised, very comfortable. Went on the road today. Of course, Wisconsin having quarterback issues again for the 3rd year in a row, losing their starting quarterback early. But nonetheless, impressive performance by Malik Washington.
Yeah,
Mark Gronowski, the new quarterback for Iowa, looked good the other night on the road at Rutgers, and that's why that game next week, that will not be an easy affair for the Indiana Hoosiers.
Well, you bring up Gronowski. Think about how close that game remained for most of it. They go down in that 4th quarter, give up a score. Gronowski has to lead them down the field, gets all the way down, leads them for a touchdown. They get a turnover, come back, kick an extra field goal, and put the game away. But Gronowski has played in some big-time football over the course of his career back at South Dakota State, national champion at the FCS level. And you saw that. You saw that experience come to fruition in that 4th quarter. Delayed handoff, Van Horst up the middle. Another chunk. Here's Ahmed. It's game break. Look, they have kept that game close. Miami, certainly one of the most balanced and deepest teams in the country. We saw that week 1 against Notre Dame, and they've only continued that trend. Valiant effort, just not enough offense clearly against an elite defense. Corey Heatherman going over to Miami after a couple years in the Big Ten. And Doza's going to keep it himself this time. Showing off the juke move inside the 40 on a gain of 15. So Alberto has not thrown it, but he does have his first carry for 15 yards, and the rushing total continues to trend upward. Fernando, again, they just got each other's backs.
Yep.
You can feel the family love. They're competitive with one another, both in throwing competitions, in the meeting rooms, trying to get the more complete right answers when the coaches ask them. But at the end of the day, Fernando says, Alberto wants to help me be the best version of myself so that when I leave, he's ready to take the mantle to be the best version of himself.
Yeah.
There's an injured player down on the sideline. And it's Torrey Cox. So already Caleb Patterson, the starting corner on one side, has missed this second half. Miles Scott out with a targeting call. Xavier Scott didn't play at all. Mac Rosetich left this game at one point in the second half. And now Torrey Cox being helped to his feet by the staff. There is Rosetich, who was the green dot after Scott was disqualified.
You know, you ask, how does Illinois come back from this? I guarantee you these players, it'll be a quiet bus ride home. It'll be a tough day tomorrow, and they will be banging down the door to get in the football building on Monday to get this sour taste out of their mouth and get back to work and get ready for USC. Too many good players, too many good leaders, too many veteran guys that know what it takes to win. And look, they just got beat by a better team tonight.
2-minute timeout in the fourth. 63-10. All IU all night in Bloomington.
Two minutes to go. Noah.
I don't know why every time I feel like I turn on a Baylor game, something wild happens. That Big 12 football right there. All right, another quarterback change. Grant Wilson is now in the game. So Alberto Mendoza got some work, had one carry, didn't throw it. Got to imagine they'll keep it on the ground here, and they do with Van Horst, spun down after a gain of 3. So you talked about how Illinois, the one thing they did was Indiana in the first half didn't at least run the ball all over them.
Right.
Now we look at the second half numbers, 242 rushing yards for Indiana. They're nearing that 300-yard
They're over it.
mark. Oh,
They're
it's
301, right?
Oh, is my math's not good. I do words for a living, not numbers. That's why I have a stats
I would have
guy.
never, ever thought they would run for over 300 yards again against Illinois, but in the second half, they made sure of it. Meanwhile, Illinois, 2 yards rushing for the ball game, which is almost unheard of as well.
Second down and 7. Martin. And nice job of just holding on by Otaluga. So 247 second half rushing yards, 294 second half yards for Indiana compared to just 15.
And still no teeth. Look, no teeth.
No teeth.
Oh, careful, Fernando.
He'll find him. One more play will be run here for the Hoosiers. Curt Cignetti takes off the glasses after another successful day at the office. 3rd down and 2. Martin already with 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. He'll get what is likely. No, he won't. It's going to be Wilson to keep it. He'll slide down, and that'll do it. The Indiana Hoosiers have announced that they're here to stay. Curt Cignetti's team showing off a dominant performance in all 3 facets of the game. 63-10 your final against number 9 Illinois. Let's go to KT.
Coach, you were confident yesterday speaking to us about your group, but you never looked satisfied on the sideline. So what will you take from this dominating victory over a top 10 ranked opponent to open up Big Ten play?
We got done what we wanted to get done. It was a dominant game. You know, we played from the first play to the last play, and it's a good win. You know, we've done a lot of great things here in a short amount of time with the crowds and the support and all that. It's another step forward for us, and get ready for the next one.
Speaking of another step forward, you told us you've seen progression from your quarterback, but what did Fernando Mendoza show you tonight?
Well, I got to watch the tape, but I think he was 15 of 17 at halftime for about 270. You know, they were a little short-handed at DB to injuries, and then they had a guy throwing out, and it's a good win. The pump block got it going. They scored the touchdown on a missed assignment on the post, and then we kind of dominated. We were physical.
Coach, thank you very much for your time.
He is blunt, he is honest, and he is a winner. Curt Cignetti and the Hoosiers take down Bret Bielema and the number 9 ranked Illinois Illini. Coming up next, except on the West Coast, it's your local news. Tomorrow night, the Chiefs and the Giants are on Sunday Night Football, each looking for their first victory. Next Saturday, Indiana goes to Iowa, takes on the Hawkeyes 3:30 exclusively on Peacock. Then Oregon, Penn State, Whiteout, 7:30 NBC and Peacock. For Catherine Tappan, Todd Blacklick, Terry McCauley, our entire crew, I'm Noah Eagle saying so long from Bloomington.